My wife just told me she's pregnant, but she doesn't know I've had a vasectomy since I was 16. When my older brother accidentally got his girlfriend pregnant as a teen, my parents decided I couldn't make the same mistake. So on my 16th birthday, instead of taking me out for pizza and cake, my parents took me to a clinic to get a vasectomy. I didn't understand what vasectomy even meant until years later in the worst way possible. I was dating Stephanie at the time, but after the third date, I knew I wanted to marry her and start a family. When I told my parents, they laughed. She told you she wanted 3 kids together? Son, you can't give her any kids. We made sure of it with your vasectomy, Dad explained bluntly. The truth felt like a sucker punch to the gut. I felt betrayed. I stopped speaking to my parents that week, but I couldn't tell Stephanie about it, not yet. I was too terrified and embarrassed, so I kept dating her, got engaged, then married her, all while carrying this secret. But I promised myself I would tell her the truth someday when I was ready. But 8 months into marriage, she brought up the idea of starting a family. I told her gently, let's wait a few years and get settled, hoping it'd buy me more time to fix the problem. She looked disappointed, but always agreed to wait. And so for the past 6 months, I'd been hopping from doctor to doctor in secret, discussing reversal surgeries, getting turned away because the reversal success rate is almost impossible, but I kept hope. Then by some miracle 2 weeks ago, a surgeon emailed me back saying he was willing to try a new procedure with me. I was thrilled. The only thing I needed to do now was buy myself a little more time before I told her everything. That's when I found something strange. I found her birth control in the trash, still half full, along with ovulation tests that clearly showed that she was trying to get pregnant while telling me straight to my face that she was willing to wait. I mean, the irony of it was pretty sickening. Her best friend even started making jokes during our hangout about oops babies and how accidents are still blessings and we could never be too sure. I realized Stephanie had been trying to trap me into finally having the baby she wanted while I was secretly sterile, but it didn't matter because after the surgery, I could give her what she wanted. What I didn't realize was that she'd make it happen on her own. I had to leave town for a work convention for 4 days. When I got back, Stephanie seemed different, more alive, happy, and hopeful. When I asked what changed, she mentioned her coworker Caitlin had been helping her out while I was gone, keeping her company. I was relieved. Maybe all she needed was some space and a friend to take her mind off things until my surgery. But that same night, I found Stephanie sobbing on the couch. I sat down beside her, worried that something bad had happened when she suddenly held up 3 positive pregnancy tests with shaking hands. "We're pregnant!" she cheered, wrapping her arms around my neck as she continued crying in my ear. "I know it's scary, but we can do it! We'll be amazing parents together. I just know it," she whispered through her sniffles. I sat there stunned and dizzy. This was impossible. Before I could process anything, she was on the phone calling her mother and her sister and her best friend. She spent the rest of the day looking through baby supplies on Amazon, showing me videos on her phone to help prepare us for parenting, and even ordered me a World's Greatest Dad shirt to encourage me. But I couldn't feel happy because I knew I wasn't the father, but I couldn't tell her how I knew. When she was busy, I pulled up her tracking app and saw she'd been 6 weeks pregnant according to the dates, the exact same time I'd been out of town for a work convention. The same week she kept mentioning her coworker Caitlin, who was apparently over at the house helping her with an important project. I knew the truth but couldn't face it, until I came home 2 days later to find her sitting in the kitchen with a grim expression, holding a piece of mail. My vasectomy reversal surgery confirmation letter. She stared at me and asked in a quiet voice, "How long have you had a vasectomy?" I sat down beside her wearing the same grim expression. "Since I was 16, I told her, explaining how cruel my parents were, how I didn't have a choice. She looked down at the letter again, then at the positive pregnancy test proudly displayed on the counter, neither of us saying anything, but we both knew. And now, there was exactly one thing left to do. Full story on channel linked below.